Ta-da! Wait. Oh, that's a music thing. Nope. Wrong button. Oh, pushing all the wrong buttons. Hold on. Hang in there, guys. There's my chat. Hello. I just pushed the wrong button trying to make sounds. So hopefully you guys can hear me. It looks like the mic works. And I have ponies behind me. I have one that's dressed up in tack, which is kind of fun. Let's see. We have Haley. Good morning, Haley. We have Sherry. Good morning, Sherry. Julie. Hello. Sophie from Scotland. Hello. It's a little later in the day than morning there. I need more coffee to get to that point. We have Christina. Good morning, Christina. We can hear you. Perfect. And then it looks like Instagram worked. So I will go in there and turn the volume off so that we don't get reverb. And then I can... Oh. Instagram can't see any video. That's great. Hold on. See if I can make it work. Okay. We might not have Instagram today. See, it works some days and I'm doing the exact same stuff, and then other days it decides it's not going to work at all. Okay. Let me... I give up. Fuck it. Beep it out. Yeah, so Instagram will work, so it's just Facebook and YouTube now. So I give up on technology forever. We have Cindy. Good morning, Cindy. We have Brenda. Good morning, Brenda. Good morning, Sally. Sally's saying she's got a sick kitty. Oh, hopefully kitty feels better soon. That's never fun. Amy, good morning. Holly, good morning. Holly saying the newest medallion Blackthorn is fantastic. I will be showing him in a minute. Let's see what else we got. Andrea, good morning, Andrea. 4 Hooves and 1 Heart Studios. Hello, Jody. Hello. There's so many people this morning. Yay. So the new medallions did go out, which is super exciting. I've sent them out to everybody, including the anniversary people who are still waiting on their anniversary gift because I had to make it extra super complicated. But it'll be worth it. I can show you a peek of that later. So that'll be fun. Let's see what we got going on. I will move you guys a little bit more that way so you can see the thing behind me. All right, I will show you a little bit more of that later on. And yeah, I've got some things that came in the mail. Unfortunately, my Breyer Halloween blind bags didn't show up in time. They were in Calgary and sitting there for 2 days before the weekend. I'm like, it'll have time to get here. It didn't have time to get here. So hopefully everybody's enjoying their weekend. I went to Spruce Meadows yesterday, which was super fun. So Spruce Meadows is our international show jumping hub. It's pretty cool that we have that so close. We have the Calgary Stampede, which is world-class rodeo and Western events, and then we have the Spruce Meadows, which is show jumping, and then Rocky Mountain show jumping, which is actually coming up in who gets to go there, but we get people like BZ Madden. We have Ian Miller when he was jumping, Eric Lamaze, all kind of your big names we have that just come through and you can get like this close to them, which is really neat. There was a dressage demo, which was really fun, and then Jonathan Field was here for a horsemanship demo and all sorts of fun stuff. They had vaulting demos and a big marketplace and a whole bunch of art. It always is interesting for me to go through the art section because there's always a couple of sculptors, and it's always interesting to see how much sculptors focus on the anatomy of the people, but not the anatomy of the horses. And I know in the model horse hobby, we're a little bit crazy about all the anatomy and being super kind of on point with all of it. But if you're going to spend the time to get the people right so that they don't look weird, you should probably spend the time to get the horses right so they don't look weird. It's just me. I don't know. I do have a pumpkin shirt on, which I'm really excited to show because it's got a giant pumpkin on it. It is fall officially. I know I didn't stream last week. There wasn't very much for updating. I was still working on getting all the government-y tax stuff sorted out, so there wasn't a lot of interesting stuff, and I was fairly drained, so hopefully we're better. Yeah, so I've got working on biter batch. What are we even on anymore? Hold on 1 second and I will pull that up so I can tell you guys exactly. And I'm hoping that that's going to pick up now that all the taxes and stuff are through. So we are on batch Q for Queen Snapper with a couple of exceptions from previous batches. One in the last batch being an extra complicated customization that they'd wanted with the horse. So that's taking a little bit of extra to make it work for what they wanted to do with it. I'm not, for the record, customizing the horse itself. I'm just doing something with how it stands. So, yeah, you can't order special individual ones. That would just complicate everything too much. It's already complicated. So let's see here. We've got Instagram is being a troll today, apparently. Oh, good. So it's not just me. It's just how Instagram's working, which is fantastic because they're owned by the same company as Facebook. How does that even work? It gets really complicated when you're trying to like do all the things and then things go wrong, and it's hard to test beforehand without having like a very obvious, oh look, I'm testing the thing. Which I guess I could do and do like a, hey, heads up, this is gonna happen in a minute. I'm just making sure it works. You should come, hang out, have coffee. I have a little gold cup. It's shiny. Yeah. So that's the thing. I have stickers to show you guys that did come in the mail. I will have Halloween horses for next time, but we shall see. I also wanted to draw your attention to how cute he looks in tack. I don't think I've actually showed him with his bridle on before. So, it's going to want to focus on the face. Focus on his face. He looks pretty darn spiffy in tack. So I still need to work on that shoulder. I haven't done anything to him yet because, yay, taxes. But, and it helps if his bit is actually close to where his mouth is. But super, super cute dude. I'm so excited. He's going to come soon. He's my next. Need to get him done doing things because adorable. And I can't wait to do that tail because it's just, so excited. Oh, here. So you can actually see him. He's such a good boy. He makes me just want to pet him and give him cookies because he's such a good boy. And I really like how his face turned out. He's excited. Exciting. And then for those fans of Bombas, he also hasn't done anything exciting, but he is exciting just being him. And look, he lost all his hair. I'll have to fix that. Also really exciting, he will be next up after the performance horse for getting done. Hopefully I'll get everybody done in time for the October sale. So, see how that goes. I'm still getting swag and stuff done and ordered. We shall see which arrives in time. Worst case scenario, I will have stuff en route and it'll just be a minute and then I'll ship it. It'll probably be like within a week or two that it'll arrive if it's late, but it might be, hopefully, all on time. I wasn't expecting to be totally sidelined for a few weeks with all the governmental tax stuff. So yeah, they're like, we don't like you being late. Do the thing. So you kind of got to take that seriously. All right. We got comments. Sally saying she's pretty sick. We're at the ER with Friday with her. Love the new medallion. He's gorgeous. Oh. I worked for a small animal vet for a couple of years, and I know how stressful, well, when I've had animals, I know how stressful that is trying to go back and forth and all the complications with all the medical stuff. So hopefully it's something simple and you can get it fixed up. Cats are extra challenging because it stresses them out so much taking them to the vet, and it's just a bad process. So sending all the love and hugs and good vibes. Julie is saying, finally got my hands on the Dust Devils. They are amazing. They are fun. I like the Dust Devils. It was just such a, yeah. Fighting, twirling, dusty. Yeah, I can't do things that are simple. It's just not a thing. Although Blackthorn is kind of simple, so there is that. I'm trying to, not everything. My husband loves me so much, and he tells me I don't need to do everything so extra. I can sometimes tone it down, and it's just as awesome. It's just my brain needs to do too much all at once. Cindy's saying, I want to go to Spruce Meadows. It's amazing. So half the time I don't even actually watch the jumping. I'm out in the workout or the warm-up arena taking photos from there and not actually watching the competition itself, or I'm watching the demos, or I'm out shopping, or just hanging out, because it's a gorgeous place to be where there's 500 different places you can just hang out and be around big trees and horses and like fall wonderful breezes when it's this time of year. So they do their big masters competition every year about this time. It's kind of the beginning of September. I don't know if it's the same weekend or the same dates or how, well, can't be the same dates, I guess, because the days move, but close to this time pretty much every year. So last year I was doing the workshop, and so the tail end of the workshop, a few people came with us to Spruce Meadows and got to enjoy all the fun with Lynn and I. So it's pretty cool. Let's see. Holly's like, is Tater back there? Tater's back there. I'm just gonna have to call him Tater. His name is Poe Tater. Yeah, so he's super fun. I'm excited. I love his face. He makes me happy inside. And I love Bombus because he's just so oofy. They're awesome for different reasons. And if you've not been here when I've ranted before about how I sculpt by feeling. So I don't go and sculpt and have a vision in my head necessarily. I have like a feeling in my head and a feeling in my body that I'm trying to put into the sculpture. So it's a weird way to do it because most people can see things in their head, and I don't do that very well. Like if you're telling me to close my eyes and picture a polar bear, I can't really see a polar bear. I can kind of feel a polar bear, or I have dreams and I can feel people in them. It's not super common that I see things, which is, for me, it warps my brain because I'm like, how am I an artist and I can't see things? So if I'm doing something, I almost need to draw it or collage it or mock it up first before I can really even see if it goes together, especially when it's stuff that's not like artistic, like a horse sculpture. If I'm trying to set up the studio, I can't see it in my head. I have to like collage it or do like a diagram. Is bad. It makes life a little bit more challenging. So I don't know what that's about, but that's the thing. But that's why the horses tend to be oozy with stuff, not oozy resin, because that's bad resin. I mean oozy with like personality and emotion and feeling and things like that, because I can't do it any other way. It's got to be based around something. And each sculpture has its own thing. Christina's saying, I have the same brain. Yay, I'm not alone. Somebody said it was like a form of kinesthesia, but not really. So I don't know if it's that. We'll see. I can kind of see things in my head, but it's always fuzzy and vague. Yeah, so exactly kind of the same thing, but I have a very strong feeling when it comes to like feelings of things. So with the newest medallion I was working on, it being performance-based and kind of the feeling that goes into it, and I'll explain it a little bit more when I show it at the end, so I don't spoil it for people who don't want it to be spoiled, because Yeah, that's hard. That's really hard. I don't know at this point if I should keep trying to do the Medallion Club as a surprise, because I know some people really like the surprise, but there's always some point it comes out, and usually sooner than people would like, and it ends up in like hurt feelings and upset people. So I don't know if I should just be like, okay, here's the medallion, first of the month, ta-da! Or what. But it's so hard pleasing everybody, it's not possible. Then we have Amy. I sculpt by feeling and emotion a lot, and a lot of pieces are song inspired. Yes, music is so powerful, and it's hard because I try and use it, but I have a very hyper brain, so it needs to be babysat. So normally when I'm working, it's hard for me to just listen to music. I enjoy it when I do, but my brain wants to listen to audiobooks and videos and learn about a thing. Like, I don't know, I've been doing a lot of pressure canning and gardening and stuff like that. So my brain's like, oh, what about this new hyperfixation ADHD kind of crazy thing? So yeah, I do that. And then it's funny because I took a autistic characteristic test and I took it with a friend, and the friend got fairly high and was like, oh my God, you should try this. Like, what are you? I was really high. And I know that some of that can be sometimes trauma-based, and there was some stuff when I was being, what's the right word? Cooked in my mother's belly, where she was doing things that she was probably not appropriate for intake of body things like drugs and alcohol. So who knows what kind of effect that has on whatever. My brother has issues too, so it's just a thing. Could be technically genetics. I don't know. But I have a lot of stuff like that. And then, like a lot of us do, I think the model horse community is fairly full of people that have traits of neurodiversity and ADHD and autism and Asperger's. And apparently you're not allowed to say that anymore. I can't follow the political correct thing. So yeah, that's the thing. Amy's like, oh my God, I think we're twins. I'm gonna do all the things all at once. Yes, everything all at once, and my brain needs like the Matrix plug in the back, so I can just go learn the thing and then do all the things, but faster. But my immortal body can't keep up with it. Yeah, that's the thing. Katie, you should sculpt. It's always fun, even if you just pick up Play-Doh or mashed potatoes. So fun. I actually opened up a Baby Bell this morning, and the Baby Bell comes with the wax, and you can sculpt in the wax. So fun. I did play with that alien clay the other day, and I'm still learning the intricacies, because monster clay is a little bit more waxy and plasticky. This is a little bit more clayy, and I don't tend to favor the clayy stuff. I tend to favor the plasticky stuff. Textural, I don't know. And I'm trying to learn how to smooth with it, because smoothing with it's a whole different beast. It's not necessarily as easy as I was thinking it was going to be. So each clay has its own properties, and it's so hard to find one that, well, you're never going to find one that everybody's going to like, but you can find ones that are kind of more interesting and work kind of with your own personal set of preferences. So I will update you, and I will try and do a video at some point of all the different kinds of clays and epoxies and things, because like I was saying last stream, you can mix clays and get different properties. So you can melt in wax, or I could melt monster clay and alien clay together to get whatever I want. Or I could mix in pigments in the clay and it would give me like sparkly clay, which I shouldn't even say, because now my brain's going to want sparkly clay, and it's a bad idea. Like, I can't see all the details because it just sparkles. It's like a disco ball. Yeah, so that's the thing. What else did I do? I do have medallions that are getting close to done. I'm a hand talker. I'm watching my hands in the video over here. I lost the train of thought because I was distracted by my own hands twice, because I see two videos here. One's live as I'm recording it, and one's slightly delayed as it's showing up on all the platforms. Oh my God, my brain. I almost have I'm going to close my eyes for a second and refocus, because squirrel. Haley's laughing. I know she is. So I have a couple medallions that are very close to molding for the October sale as well. So we are getting very close to having stuff that will be ready to show, which is super exciting. The swag's the only thing that might be a little bit behind, and I'm trying to get ahead so we can have some batches of at least one of these boys for the sale. One should follow maybe slightly after the other, depending on how things go. We need hair to sculpt nicely and horses to cooperate. I think that Tater will be a good boy. And Bobbus might not be a good boy. We'll see how it goes. We're always at the whims of these artistic horse things and talk to them and stuff. It's fine. All right. I will show you some things I got in the mail, and then we can talk about peaky things. So, Northwest Studios Sticker Club was this lovely, and a lot bigger than the average Northwest Studios sticker, which is super exciting. I quite like it. And they're such good vinyl. I like that hardcore vinyl. Ta-da! Oh, come on. Camera. You can try a little bit. There we go. There we go. Here's some details. Super fun. So, that's Northwest Studios. And then DJB. September came with a quote. A horse does not care how much you know. He cares how much you care. Pat Pirelli. And this one I like. Because staying. Very determined, focused. This one looks like Darren. I love it. I find it so interesting to see how things change with artists as they're going and different things they're sculpting, and it kind of imagining the reasons why they're sculpting the things they're sculpting, because everything I sculpt has a reason kind of behind it, and it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm doing Biter because I'm angry. That's not how that necessarily works, but you're always sculpting from a place, and the good stuff comes out of good places. So Biter was the whole cancer journey and the recurrence, and we had a neighbor that just passed away, not from recurrence of cancer, but cancer that kind of popped up out of nowhere. And so it's been extra challenging, and I know a lot of people that have been kind of sick or having cancer or all this stuff lately, and it's even just in our little neighborhood here, and it's really challenging. The one neighbor has breast cancer and had to go in for surgery twice because they didn't get it the first time, all the margins and stuff, and they're hoping that the tests come out good and the biopsies. So fingers and toes crossed. Joni is in there doing tests. Joni Berkowitz from the hobby. She was heavily involved in all the ceramic stuff, and had to step away from that when she got breast cancer because the treatments caused all sorts of problems, and lifting the big heavy molds were challenging. It's just been something that's touched the community quite a bit, either within the model horses or within the close community here. And every single time it happens, it's terrifying. And I was friends with, when I started doing all my treatments and stuff, with a whole group of people that were supporting each other as they were going through treatments and things, and a whole bunch of those people have either had recurrences or we've had new people that have come in and had treatment and basically immediately got their cancer back, and it's terrifying. So there's always that like rage, internal fight. I'm sure my immune system's always struggling trying to fight stuff off because I'm genetically compromised. Another reason for me not to breed. Genetically compromised in having a mutation in my BRCA2 gene, meaning I'm more prone for melanoma and ovarian cancer, which is why we did the tubes and we're taking the ovaries at some point reasonably soon, probably. Yay. I don't want to go through menopause again, because I did a short stint when you did chemo. It stops your hormones, and so you do all the menopausey, hot, flashy. It's not a good preview. But yeah, so there's all that stuff. There's just, yeah. So Biter had all that stuff behind her and still does, and having it still kind of be a daily thing, it's a very challenging thing to live with. And I know most normal people live with kind of the idea maybe in the back of their mind that, oh, there's a lot of people that get cancer and get sick, and you never want to be that person, and it's just challenging. So yeah, that was heavy. Sorry, guys. But yeah, then there's other things, like with our little tater tot here. He's just, I wanted to embody a good boy and maybe tame things down a little bit because I go from like Crazy Juggernaut and Biter and all these medallions that I've been doing that are very like energy intense and that's just kind of me. I'm fairly energy intense until I'm a potato and I need snacks. But there's it's times when it's nice to just rein it in. So like for the anniversary medallion that I'm doing for you guys, that will be for everybody who joined up until July. That medallion is very soft, very angelic, very kind of an escape from some of the more intense stuff. And then Blackthorn was as well, the most current Medallion Club medallion. So I kind of try and bounce back and forth. It's nice to challenge myself to rein it in and kind of compose that energy and contain it a little bit. So like Tater, he's more composed and he's got like, I'm trying to put more of the story in instead of all my wild energy. Like sculpt with that. Squirrel. Let's see. Kind of off topic, but same idea. I'm trying to get better at sculpting hair and moving dynamic hair. What kind of armature wire gauge are you using? That's kind of preference and how crazy you want to get with the hair. If you want good support in the hair, just your stainless steel wire that you would find. I don't even know gauges. I don't even know where my wire is. Where's my wire? No idea. If you go to a home improvement place and look in the picture hanging section, they normally have wire. And I would go by feel of what will work for the scale you're working at and kind of what works for the flexibility. If you use aluminum wire is a lot more flexible. So it won't provide as much durability and stability in the hair. So I would tend to steer away from that. But stainless steel wire is harder to move. It doesn't want to flex and bend as well, which is why it's good for stability and good for really tiny tendrils. And it's also, you can get smaller thicknesses for smaller scales. So like stablemate, it would work really well to have more strong wire in a smaller gauge. So I tend to use the stuff that you find in the picture hanging section, and I can't remember the gauge. It's probably 20 something maybe. Go and feel it, see what will work. I don't tend to use wire mesh in my horses anymore because I've stabbed myself way too many times and bled. You can use tape and sculpt over the tape. I find even just using wire and laying down a little bit of epoxy and then dremeling it off if you need to refine it down works really well for me. Some people really like mesh. If you can find a really, 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 really fine aluminum mesh, you probably don't want stainless because stainless will stab you more. Aluminum won't quite as bad. Lynn Fraley brought a really nice kind when she came, and I don't know the brand. I know that the stuff that Michael's was carrying wasn't very good because it was too intensely hard. It was more stainless steel mesh, and it was very stabby. So yeah, stabby things. So if you're trying to do dynamic, you can also put pretty much anything underneath hair you're sculpting. But I've seen people use tape and then soda glue and baking soda on top, and that gives you a hard base. I've supported clay underneath with Sculpey, or like when you're sculpting hair, you can put something underneath it that won't dry or won't set to the epoxy. So like a monster clay would work really well because it's waxy based. It'll almost be natural release. Or you can support it with Play-Doh with like saran wrap on top. That works really well. Tinfoil works really well for hair if you kind of crunch it down and put a couple of layers. So those are some options. Andrew is saying, ooh, is that one of the medallions, that huge Pegasus? I do have that one in progress, so we will see how close he gets. The challenge with the big Pegasus is the fact that there's 5 million details to do in the wings, like I'm doing with the one that I'm doing for the anniversary. Ellen, hello, Ellen. Amy's saying I can participate in a huge event on a virtual platform that goes to the American Cancer Society and is fantasy. It's always cool to see people come together, especially for an event, and share their stories and of either themselves or the people they know. Yeah, super cool. There's a poem that a friend shared with me that was also in treatment, and it's about the mountain lion in the fridge, I think it's called. If you look that up, if you look up mountain lion fridge cancer, it will probably, in poem or story, it'll probably pop up. It's really, really good because it's, everybody's like, oh, you're so strong. But you don't really have a choice. You have perish or survive. And that's kind of how it works. So it's kind of a hard position to be put in, and a lot of people kind of resent that they're put in that position. It's a very interesting situation. But that poem kind of captured it, that story, really, really well. Thank you. Blackthorn is Yorg. Wow. Maybe? What? I'm confused. Jody, thank you. Andrea, how cool would Blackthorn's mane look on Tater? It would be very cool. He'll probably not end up with that sort of mane, but I would highly encourage customization. I think that would be really fun. Christina, tried MASH, but not liking it. Too pokey. Yes, too pokey. I agree. Shani, hello. Gorgeous and wow together. Aw, thank you. Hi Donna, how's it going? So I guess I can show you guys peeks of things since we are free of the things that I don't remember. Oh, I had one more thing to show you for all my Sander fans. I got another Sanderson box. So I only tell stories, but they may be truths. They may be fictions. All I know is that the stories exist and I must tell them. Hoid. So this one was fun because it is themed after the Warbreaker book, which is really fun. It came with breath mints, which if you haven't read the books, doesn't make any sense, but it's a hilarious joke. The mango ones are ridiculously tasty, and then the other ones are just mint. Good Lord. Sorry, guys. So they come in little cute containers, and it's kind of fun because they come with little dispensers, so they're not just going to fall out. But breath mints. Ha ha ha. It came with these gorgeous glass coasters. He's got like the best suppliers for high quality stuff, but I guess if you have millions of dollars from the campaign and a whole bunch of people that there's the pen. Whole bunch of people that have bought things, you have buying power to buy awesome things. So, Vivenna with a sparkle scarf. Doo, doo, doo. And then this was the Pied de Resistance. So this is Nightblood. In the book, a very important character. Also very hilarious. I will have to sheathe this up and keep it very safe because it is very naughty, naughty sword. So, very, very cool. But metal, you can kind of hear the clinkiness. It's pretty incredible what he was able to do with his own little version of a club, I guess. And I will be very sad when we get to December and there's no more Sanderson boxes. But he'll be doing the next set of leather bounds as a Kickstarter for The Way of Kings. So he did the first ones a couple years back, which were awesome. Those probably Tress is probably my favorite Sanderson book now, but I do really like The Way of Kings. That's probably my next up. And then Elantris would probably be next. Mistborn, it's kind of hit or miss. It's really hard for complicated books, like with the not being able to see things, that I have to try and really hard to get into it. And there's so many books in the Mistborn series that when I started, I kind of dabbled, and then I went into Way of Kings, and I really like The Way of Kings. I just see it better for whatever reason. So yeah, super awesome. Again, if you're into fantasy and epic world building and magic systems and stuff like that. Brandon Sanderson's an awesome author. All right. Brandon Sanderson is the name. If you look up, Dragon Steel is the company that he runs under. But if you look up Way of Kings and Brandon or Sanderson or he'll come up. He's a super popular author. Okay, peek time. So I'll show you the one peek that I can show you before I ruin a surprise. This is I showed you kind of a peek, but now you can see the sizing, and that's all I'll show you for now. There's like 2 wings, and it's giant. For scale reference, not quite my head, but close. I'm trying. It's hard to make medallions smaller, but I have a limit when I 3D print them as to the size I can do them. So, and I did 3D this one because it worked out a little bit easier for what I needed to do with it. And I try really hard to make my sculpting look like my sculpting, whether it is in physical format or digital format. And I know that's not necessarily the case for everybody. I know that sometimes digital sculpting changes an artist's work and makes it kind of look a little bit digital. And I try really hard not to make it look digital. So hopefully I'm succeeding, because it's just a matter of working it until you get to the place you want it to be. It's not necessarily that digital sculpting changes how the end result is. It can still look like something you've sculpted by hand. And I almost didn't say anything because I was kind of curious if anybody would catch on. I've sculpted some of the Medallion Club medallions along the way digitally because it's a little bit easier on my wrists for when I have some of my tendonitis challenges. And for some things that I'm doing, it's just kind of an easier choice. But I pride myself on you guys not necessarily knowing which ones are digital and which ones aren't. Hopefully I'm doing a good job. Horses and swords go together. Yes, we need jousting with Nightblood. It'd be amazing. Oh, thank you, Andrea. Brandon Sanderson. She put it in the chat so you can see how it's spelled. Want to see a pic of the books all together when you have them all. I have every leather bound except for Warbreaker, which is funny because Warbreaker I really enjoy, and it's also purple. But yeah, so once I get this last leather bound for this set now, I will have the full leather bound Sanderson collection, and it's epic. It sits on my shelf upstairs. All right, peaks. So the sticker, since that's an easy thing to reveal, was I did it, and this took me a little bit to figure out because I did them on my Cricut. And Cricut did not, at the time, have a setting for kiss cut and die cutting stickers. You could do one or the other, but you couldn't do both at the same time. And now it looks like they're updating the program so that you can do it. Just when I do all the R&D to figure out how to frickin' do it, they mess it up and they decide to make it a button you click. Always the way. Yeah, so that's the thing. But I did them on different types of holographic sticker stock. So they were different color shift stock. Some of them were purple blue, some of them were green, some of them were orange, some of them were red, some of them were pink, like neon cool pink. And then this one is a juggernaut in like a gold to orange. And it's kind of fun because it's neat to see what the base underneath is, because that changes the tonality of the holographic. But those went out in various color formats with the medallion this month. And the medallion this month was a homage to kind of the art of dressage. And I know that dressage can be sometimes a little bit contentious because there's, like everything else, everybody wants the easy button and they want to just skip to the collected pretty horse. And sometimes that causes all sorts of ethical challenges. So I wanted to sculpt something that was like an old master's horse. And for those of you that follow Brandon Sanderson, the Blackthorn name will be kind of something that will resonate with you a little bit, or at least be familiar, and hopefully I did him justice. he kind of had the same kind of presence as Dalinar, like that warrior type spirit, but aged. So kind of him in the books a little bit later. Aged and coming into his own wisdom and starting to chill out and not be so, I need to fight all the things and whatever. Just more relaxed, and he knows what he's doing. He's focused. He's got that wisdom, and then that dressage dance connection. So you get, dressage is supposed to be like the pinnacle of this is what a horse and a rider can do together, and your dancing is one being. You're connected so much that you can't see the aids. The horse is doing what he needs to do. He knows how to collect his body and hold himself, which not only is really good for his body therapeutically and really good for what you're able to do with movements, but it's also has this presence to it. And there's a lot of people that, whether they're training like a bridle horse in like the vaquero style, you get a horse once it's trained and learns how to collect itself and learns how to do these things with its body and connect with these human rider people. You get a horse that is very confident in itself and has a different being about itself. It's like we help them like get to a different state of equine enlightenment, maybe. I don't know what the term would be for it, but they seem to come into their own in a different way that you don't necessarily see in a lot of other areas in sports or doing different things with horses. And whether you're training in jumping or barrel racing or anything, you can always get to this point of having the horse do amazing things and be very confident and watching them kind of grow in experience. It's just so cool. But dressage kind of is like the fairy tale pinnacle for a lot of people. So I wanted to capture something like that. Totalis was kind of a huge inspiration in the process because he's kind of a nice, meaty, chunky boy. And earlier in his career, doing amazing things and really starting to learn how to use his body. So kind of a play of a whole bunch of ideas. But I got to do braids again, which is super fun. I haven't done those since Xavier. But this is my boy. And let's see if it'll focus. So he's got a really, really sweet eyeball, which was kind of a big focus. It's always a big focus. And I worked really hard to try and accentuate my focus on the details, like all the wrinkles he's got. He's got veining to him that I tried to knock down and make it very subtle. All the little braids are there. His cute little ears, all the veins, while trying to make it so that they don't pop out too much. They're not just, I tried to really extra, and had to be extra somehow, really try and hone in on doing those details really well. So he's reasonably thick. He's reasonably big. He's not a raven face, but he's kind of close, like half. And all the details look really, really cool. So he is available for club members to order more of until the end of the month. And then new club members that sign up, because the club closes on the 18th, if you sign up, you can purchase him as your first box, additionally to what the normal club would be, because normally you'd have to wait till your club payment's accrued, but you can grab him and maybe a couple if you want. But he's going to be super fun painted up. And we'll see if people give him different manes and maybe some tack or make him into a unicorn. He's a good boy. He was a lot of fun. There was a lot of wisdom and, let's see, the lights work against me always. A lot of wisdom to him, and I worked really hard to try and give him all the things without being over the top with hair and all the rest of it. So, yeah. Haley's like, Raven, extra? Never. Doesn't happen. Let's see. I know exactly how big it is after you've measured it against the standard Raven head scale. I should just, for all the medallions, be like, this is a 3/4 head. This is a full head. This is a... I might end up at some point doing another set of medallions for the club that's 2. because I really like that, but I'll have to try and figure out how to make them small. I don't do that very well. But yeah, so these are still reasonably, I've kept the club price at the $50, which is like, my light just went really weird. $50, which is really low comparatively. There's other artists that are selling ones that are basically the size for 130 or more, which is a lot. So everybody's got their own pricing structure, and I'm probably charging way too little. So that might have to change at some point in the future, but I'm going to keep it there as long as I can. We'll see. Once I do all my accounting and stuff, I'll figure out, I need to hone in on all of my details to see if I'm even making money on the Medallion Club at all at this point. I don't know, because I don't do the accounting part very well. Oy. So yeah, on that note, that is this boy. He is fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy him and enjoy painting him. I want to see him in all the colors. It's going to be cool. Let's see. Andrea's saying you truly captured Dalinar with Blackthorn. Thank you. That means a lot coming from another Sander fan. Yeah. Jody says I wanted to put it in my car, but was afraid it would get damaged. The medallion? They do melt with heat, and it has to be high heat. I don't know. I should test that one of these days, or someone could test it for me. Put a medallion in a car and be like, okay, does it live? Because it shouldn't do anything other than thin parts might warp, but resin doesn't melt like plastic does. Like a Breyer acetate will melt. A resin will just get kind of more movie, but not really. It doesn't, like if you wanted to move a leg on a resin or an ear, you can't just heat it and move it. It gets movable, but it does not move. So it might be fine in a car. It might not be fine in a car with paint on it, but white, it would probably be fine. Oh, everybody's happy with him. That makes me so happy. Hopefully you're excited by the anniversary one and the next ones, because I'm trying to up my game with each medallion I sculpt. Holly said I bought extras already for customizing, and they shipped. I got them out the same day because it was fast. Haley's saying mine's gonna be bay or buckskin. Bay? And you're doing the buckskin one to Ted Darren, aren't you? The sticker, yes. Bucker. And some people got a bigger bucker than this. Some people, I did some that were a little bit bigger and some that were a little bit smaller to keep it kind of interesting. Super fun. We're saying Four Hooves and One Heart Studios is saying if it sits in the sun for days or weeks, it will start to turn yellow. Resins do yellow sometimes. Sun can sometimes make it worse. So yeah, you wouldn't have a pristine white medallion. It would need to be, you could cast it into something else, but I don't know which would be car stable. There are plastics in your car, so really should work. Oh, I missed a comment. Jody's asking about the sticker. I'm missing a comment here somewhere because that does not. I see the sticker, but I don't see the comment that related to it. But I see an answer to a question that I can't see. So it says, if the sticker's made out of the same material that my friend uses, which it looks and feels like it is, it will last 2 years. Oh, the sticker on the car, not the medallion in the car. Yes, so the vinyl is safe to go on whatever you want. If you put it on water bottles and you put it through the wash, it's probably not going to last very long. But it is reasonably high quality vinyl, so you should be able to stick it on whatever you want. On your car, should last a couple years. On your water bottles, I have, there's a green one. One on my water bottle. So you just got to be reasonably careful because there is adhesive underneath it and I don't have a protection over top of it. So if you don't put something over it or like resin coat it, if you resin coat it, it'll last forever. But yeah, you can put it on whatever you want. Cars work. Any of the stickers that I send out technically are high enough quality vinyl that they should work. The challenge is with things that are like the holographic sticker stock and the mirror and all the fancy ones. Sometimes those ones can delaminate a little bit easier than the others, but they should last for a while. At least like 1 to 2 years, I'd imagine. That's kind of what they rate them for. And then the normal vinyl ones, like these guys, last really long too, because there's a protective layer, and yeah, it's all good. So, ta-da! Stickers. Put the stickers on all the things. All right. Thank you for the chewable coffee. The baby loved it. It's like coffee bars. I try, because I know everybody likes the coffee crisp, or most of you like the coffee crisp, so I try and include it in all the boxes if I can. Sometimes I run out, and then the store runs out because everybody buys the coffee crisp. They make coffee crisp balls now, which are like little round, they're like Milk Duds, but with coffee crisp. So that's kind of interesting. I haven't tried them yet, though. I did want to mention one other thing that I'm super excited about that is not really model horse related, but for those of you that do art stuff, Procreate is an app that I use for my iPad for doing all my graphic design. So all the stickers are designed on that when I draw them. I do a lot of sketches for medallions that are on there. I do some animation stuff on there for when I did like the Bumble Butt, where he was breathing and going... He's animated in Procreate, and I use it for all the graphic design when I do the t-shirts and the ponies and things. I do some traditional art, but the iPad's just so fun because you can do all sorts of stuff with it. Procreate just announced 2 days ago that they are doing a actual animation app, which is something that a lot of people have been asking for forever. They are destroying it. It's going to be $20. And I'm in no way paid by them. I'm just really freaking excited that they're doing an animation app and they're not charging like $120 a month. So, and it looks super intuitive. Check it out on YouTube. Look up Procreate Animation or Animation App, or Procreate Dreams is what it's called. So that might actually pull it up easier. If you pull that up and you like animation or you want to play with it, for $20, it'll allow you to take like a normal video and animate over top of it. It will allow for all the audio. Apparently the engine that supports all of it can animate as fast as you can go, which is kind of industry breaking a little bit, because normally you'd animate and have to wait for it to render and do its thing. This you don't, which is really neat. I'm super excited because I've always wanted to play with animation more, and this looks like a very intuitive way to do it. And because I use Procreate, it kind of naturally carries across. They have the same brushes and all the rest of it, and they are not a company that wants to take all of your money all the time. They would like to take your money and give you good stuff for it, which is awesome, for not a price that's going to break your soul and bank account. That is coming out on November 22nd, I believe, which is just before my birthday. So happy birthday to me. I'm buying myself Procreate Dreams. And hopefully I do fun things with it because it'll be really cool. And hopefully by that point, I will be done biters and have time to enjoy playing with things again. That'll be fun. One day. I am hoping that with the break in all of